Buckle in, because this is going to be a big one. What's going on, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger. Ladies and gentlemen, the folks over at Marvel Rivals went ahead and dropped the official patch notes for season number 2. And as you can see on your screen right now, there's a lot of text to read. Fear not, though. I've done all the reading. I broke it all down. We're going to run through it all in just one moment. But beyond the patch notes, we also have a brand new free skin to talk about. We have an insight into the gifting UI. We have some very interesting information about Ultron and much more. Now, of course, guys, if you do enjoy today's video, don't forget, like always, smash that thumbs up button. Thank you guys so very much for your kindness. Thank you guys so very much for your continued support. And without further ado, let's dive on in. So let's begin with the patch notes themselves, because there's a lot to run through. And let's start with the logical point, and that is, when is the patch going live? Now, unlike the handful of the previous patches that we've been receiving, where there was no actual server downtime, this time, because of course this is a major patch and it will be introducing the entirety of the new season, yes, there will actually be a few hours of server downtime, meaning that the game will be unplayable. When is that happening? That is going to be occurring on April 11th at 2 a.m. PDT, which for those of you that are like myself and are in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, that would be around 5 in the morning. Now, from there, they basically say that during that time, the servers will be offline. However, they will be coming back online within around 2 to 3 hours. So that means around 8 to maybe 9 in the morning is when we can expect the game to start to be playable again in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. Obviously, adjust that accordingly to whatever time zone you might be in. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the patch itself. First and foremost, they obviously dedicate a section to Emma Frost herself, the new hero joining the fray. And yes, they do confirm that she will be going live with 2 skins in the shop available for purchase. So we have the classic kind of recolor skin, which is the blue Sapphire skin. We don't have confirmation of the price of that one, but almost every single recolor skin in the game is at the 600 unit point. So this is probably going to be the standard price for this one as well. And then, of course, we do have new information about the internet breaking X Revolution skin, and that is that it will indeed be a 1600 unit bundle. So if you want to purchase the bundle as a whole, you'll be spending 1600 units. If you want to buy the skin by itself, you'll be dropping 1400 units instead. The next section of the patch notes is dedicated to the maps and modes, where they once again reiterate that yes, indeed, the new domination style of map for Hellfire Gala Krakoa will be joining the fray. And they once again do reiterate that obviously the competitive pool will be taking a little bit of a shakeup in terms of the types of maps that will be added. So Hellfire Krakoa will be added, or Hellfire Gala Krakoa will be added, while Ixgard Royal Palace and Tokyo 2099 Shin Shibuya will actually be removed from ranked play. They also do go ahead and say that if you're playing quick play, fear not, all of the maps are still available in rotation. So just because Tokyo 2099 is being removed and Ixgard Royal Palace is being removed, it doesn't mean that they are inaccessible in the game. They're just inaccessible in the ranked form of play. They also, interestingly enough, are going to be implementing a new system for substitute players. So like, you know, if you queue up for a quick match, it'll just slot you into a match that is already ongoing where someone maybe dropped out, where essentially if you go on to lose that match as the substitute player, it seems like that will not count as a loss on your record for your combat history or scoreboard. But if you win, it will still register as a victory. So I guess rewarding you for being a substitute player without actually punishing your record. The next portion of the patch notes talks about the battle pass and seasonal events, or at least initial seasonal events. We already know most of this information, so let's rapid fire through it. Yes, we're getting a new battle pass. Yes, it has 10 skins. Yes, we're going to be getting a Cerebro database event where you will be able to unlock a really cool looking Mantis Flora Maiden skin. In addition to that, just by simply completing 9 matches during season number 2, you will also be able to earn this really cool looking Scarlet Witch Chaos Gown skin. And yes, there's a brand new Twitch drop event coming soon titled the Namor Will of Galacta collection, which will feature Namor in his new skin, nameplate spray, and emote. And they will release more information about when that will be going live, how, etc., closer to the actual release of the season. They also once again reiterate that the mission system in season number 2 will be taking a little bit of a revamp. So first of all, they are removing how many there are hero specific missions. So oftentimes a lot of the missions that you do in the game require you to be like, oh hey, do 15,000 damage as Winter Soldier, Black Panther, and Black Widow, or something like that. So a lot of those missions can get quite tedious. It seems like the community has been adamant about maybe not being so hero specific. So it seems like they've listened. So maybe they will not be adding quite as many of those types of missions. So that's a major W there. And then just the way in general, how they are going to be distributing the daily and weekly tokens, chrono tokens from the missions, is getting a bit of a revamp. We don't really have any concrete information on what that means, so I guess we'll find out all together on Friday. Next, they talk about ranked, where there's quite a few things to cover. So first and foremost, yes, they confirm that once season 2 goes live, you will be deranking 9 divisions down. So if, let's say, you finish season 1.5 at Diamond 1, season 2, you will begin your journey at Silver 1, allowing you to work your way back up towards hopefully either the same rank or even better than where you ended up last season. In addition to that, they also do confirm that the Emma Frost skin will indeed be the reward skin for reaching the gold rank. So as long as you hit gold at some point during season number 2 or 2.5, you will be able to earn the Emma Frost skin. Oh, and they also confirmed, because this is a new season, there will indeed be new Crest of Honor for Grandmaster, Celestial, Eternity, and Top 500. Now, they did also reiterate the fact that, yes, the actual threshold that you need to hit before you can compete in a ranked match is going up from the current level 10 to level 15. I guess they just feel like people need to spend a bit more time learning how to play the game in order to make the ranked experience that much better. So that is going up. In addition to that, they also will allow now the pick and ban system to go live from Gold 3 instead of the previous Diamond tier. So I guess that's a nice change for those people that have been wanting to have access to that pick and ban system a little earlier. The massive W there. In addition to that, this is an interesting clarification, because we did know that starting with Eternity and One Above All, you would only be able to queue up as a solo or duo. So you can't queue up as teams of 3, 4, or 6. So that's an interesting change in the sense that we thought that it would only applies to people that are all in that rank, but they clarified and said that if a team includes a player from either Eternity or One Above All, only solo or duo queue will be allowed. So that's an important clarification. And speaking of important, a very important clarification and change coming in season number 2 for ranked is the fact that they are increasing the weight of individual performances. That means that the better you do, the more points you will earn during victories in ranked, and the fewer points you will lose in defeat. That means that even if, let's say, your team is doing poorly, but you are doing really, really well, and then you go on to lose, your team might lose a lot more points than you, because your individual performance will allow you to lose fewer points. So essentially, they are starting to focus a lot more heavily on individual effort within a round and trying to reward you for being a good player. I think that's a very interesting change. I'm just very curious to see how it will actually be implemented. The next section is tournament and factions, where I really just wanted to highlight a couple of things, just because the majority of the tournament detail doesn't really apply to the vast majority of us, because it really just applies to the people that are actually competing in the tournaments themselves, which I'm sure they're really excited that they're going to be able to adjust their emblems and have a bit more customization and all that jazz. But interestingly enough, what does apply to the majority of us is the factions portion, where, guess what? The cool thing is that we're also going to be getting some new faction emblems. So they're going to be able to go ahead and add a plethora, hopefully, of cool new emblems with this new update. So I'm very, very excited about that. They're also going to be introducing a new interesting recruit and seeking faction system, where they can essentially go ahead and, I guess, look for certain types of players to join your faction. So like, if, let's say, you're looking for like duelists or vanguards or something like that, you'll be able to like specifically say that, hey, this faction is looking for a vanguard, or is looking for a duelist, or is looking for a fill in the blank. So I think that that's an interesting idea in terms of just developing the community. The next section of the patch notes, titled General Updates, is just a bunch of small little changes coming to the game. Again, obviously they're welcomed, but I think that the only thing that I really want to highlight here is the new gifting feature. They once again confirmed that gifting is coming to the game, but more importantly, over on Twitter, Rivals Info gave us a view of what the actual gifting mechanic will look like. So I think that's a major dub, but more importantly, a person asked them a question saying, hey, will battle passes actually be giftable? And Rivals Info goes on to say, it seems like they're working on it in some capacity. So this is not an official term or confirmation from Marvel Rivals themselves, but Rivals Info has been very good about reveals for Marvel Rivals. So I think that it's an interesting idea that hopefully in the future, right now, we can expect to only be able to gift skins, but hopefully in the future, you can actually also gift battle passes. That'll be a cool addition to be included and something to look forward to. Now, PC players, this next thing I know you're going to be extremely excited about, because with this new update, they're adding a new experimental feature called the Switch Shader Compilation Mode. And it says, when activated, shaders will only compile for the first time that you launch a game after a new version or a graphics driver update. This feature can significantly reduce memory usage and minimize the in-game stuttering, especially on systems with 16 gigs of RAM or less. They do also say, however, if you're using a CPU with less threads in combination with AMD FSR 3 frame generation, you may notice the occasional additional stutter with this feature enabled. So again, I don't play on PC for this game. I play on console, so it doesn't really affect me, but I do have a few friends who play on PC, and I know that it is a very annoying thing that every time you launch Marvel Rivals, you have to deal with the compiling of shaders. It seems like if this feature goes as they are planning, it seems like that problem should be far less prominent. So hopefully PC players will go ahead and celebrate, and hopefully it makes your games run better and smoother. So major dub there. But fear not, console players, there's a lot of changes coming to us as well. I guess not really changes, options. Let's put it that way. With this new update, they really seem to be focused on a lot more of how you actually will be controlling your character. So first, they're going to be introducing a new player initial settings feature where when you're playing for the first time, it will actually, I guess, like guide you through almost like a little tutorial to set your sensitivity, to adjust whatever trigger features you want, dead zones you want for your sticks, so on and so forth when you first enter the game, so that you have the optimized perfect experience for yourself. And then beyond that, for existing players, it just seems like they're going to be adding new vertical dead zone sensitivity. There's going to be additional sensitivity acceleration delay settings. There's going to be new stick dead zone settings for the character movement and the triggers themselves. So just a lot more customization about how you control your character. And I know what you're saying at this point, Blitz, that had to be it. I mean, that's a lot to cover. Nope, there's still more, because there's a whole nother section titled Fixes and Optimizations, broken down into the following sections. First, we have general updates, which is just a bunch of general fixes like rectifying various text errors or any sort of issues related to notifications. So major W that they continue to fix these tiny little things that don't seem like they matter, but obviously if there's a lot of them, it adds up and it does deteriorate the experience. So nice to see that they continue to pay attention to that. Speaking of which, they are also going to go on ahead and once again implement a new fix to terrain issues that would cause characters to become stuck or clip through odd locations. This is something that I've continuously experienced, so I'm glad that they continue to patch this with every single patch. And hopefully there will be one of these patch notes where they don't have to do it anymore because it's no longer a problem. And then there's also a hero specific set of changes. So let's quickly run through those. First, for Captain America, while moving backwards, he would be unable to ricochet enemy projectiles. That will be getting fixed with this new update. Seems like that would be a pretty big issue, so I'm glad that that is being addressed. When getting revived by Adam Warlock's ultimate Born Again ability, it would sometimes cause you to have like really weird camera angles, which is something that I have run into once before. So I'm glad that this is being fixed with this patch, where you should be getting rezzed with a normal POV of your hero like you usually would be able to see. When playing as Namor specifically on the Hydra Charter Space map, you know, the Super Soldier Factory map, when one of the pillars would be shifting, if you activated your ultimate onto one of those shifting moving pillars, it would sometimes not register any of the actual damage. Like, it wouldn't actually do damage at all to anyone within the vicinity. That's obviously a big problem. So with this patch, that is going to be getting fixed. There was an issue with the Winter Soldier, specifically in situations where there was an unstable network condition going on, where when going for his ultimate ability, he wouldn't actually ascend. Instead, he would descend down too early. So obviously something that needed to be addressed. That will be fixed with this update. I hadn't heard of this issue, but Cloak and Dagger fans, if you've run into the issue where when transforming from Cloak to Dagger and back and forth, if one of the character models would linger for a little bit longer than what was, I guess, anticipated, with this patch, it seems like they're going to have a much smoother transition between the forms. Now, this next issue is a little bit funny, but essentially Iron Fist would sometimes get stuck in like a permanent floating state. I assume from when like he's doing his like healing ability, so he would just kind of float off. That's a pretty funny glitch, but it will be getting fixed with this new patch. And then finally, I don't know why, but it really does seem like Wolverine is kind of a broken character, because I feel like every one of these major patches has a lot that needs to fix about him. So I'm sorry to all you Wolverine players that you have so many problems to deal with, but apparently there was an issue where when you would use his Feral Leap ability, he would remain in kind of like an abnormal state where the character model would essentially break, where the arms wouldn't really like be positioned accurately. So that'll be getting fixed with this update. And then the other thing, which sounds like an insanely frustrating thing, I can't imagine having this happen, but fortunately enough, apparently it was a rare issue, where what would happen is that after you use, once again, Feral Leap, all of your abilities would just become unusable at that point. So again, obviously something that is unacceptable and will be getting fixed with this patch. So those were the patch notes, but here's the thing. Okay, my bad on that one, but we are actually getting a brand new thing skin, so I felt like appropriate to make that joke here. But here is the thing indeed, and this brand new skin is actually going to be a collaboration between Marvel Rivals and Marvel Unlimited. So if you're a Marvel Unlimited subscriber, which by the way, I guess I should pump the brakes for a second for those of you that don't know what Marvel Unlimited is, it's essentially, think like Netflix, but specifically for Marvel Comics. It allows you to have access to a huge library of Marvel Comics on a monthly basis if you're a subscriber. So it's an excellent resource, whether you are an existing fan or someone who's just getting into it. They have a very excellent library available there. So definitely something worthwhile in checking out if you're interested. But for those of you that are either customers or thinking of becoming customers, if you are a subscriber, by April 16th at midnight, you will qualify to receive this brand new thing skin. Now, from what we understand right now, the thing skin will actually be, or the code for the thing skin will be sent out on April 25th. But again, if you are qualifying, or if you want to qualify, you need to make sure to be a subscriber by the 16th. The cool thing is that to lean into this whole thing, I feel like I'm saying thing a lot, but to lean into it, Marvel Unlimited has released a new promo code titled Here's the Thing, allowing you to have a 1 month free of Marvel Unlimited in order to check out the service, and I guess also possibly qualify for this particular promotion if you so see fit. But that's still not all, because we also got some other exciting confirmations when it comes to skins. First and foremost, we have some new images from the upcoming Marvel Rivals comic series that seem to once again confirm that the previous images that we have seen of Jeff the Shark and the nameplate that we have seen for the summer themed, I guess, kind of like summer beach vacation sort of thing for Squirrel Girl will indeed be getting actual skins in Marvel Rivals sometime soon. So we can probably expect some sort of a big summertime event that will feature a bunch of summer themed skins that I am sure is going to melt down the internet, no pun intended. But we do have these two cool images for both Squirrel Girl and Jeff the Shark. And finally, we gotta talk about Ultron, because first and foremost, look at this cool character model for either Ultron himself or one of his drones. We don't have confirmation of which one that is yet, but it looks super duper neat no matter what. In addition to that, though, we have this really cool text blurb as far as the story of Marvel Rivals is concerned, where check that name out there. It says, long ago, my father, the scientist known as Henry Pym. That, for those that don't know who that is the one and only Ant-Man. How cool is that? They've gone ahead and confirmed that Henry Pym is indeed the creator of Ultron. It's also cool to see the name here because it obviously implies the fact that probably going to get Ant-Man at some point in the future. I don't know how they will ever make that character work, but I'm excited to find out. So that is definitely still one of those characters that, at least from a gameplay standpoint, I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing be implemented in Marvel Rivals. But the most important thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to Ultron, or I guess his story here, is that a lot of people brought up an interesting point when talking about Ultron, saying, well, why is Ultron a strategist? Why would he be a quote-unquote support class character? Why would he be healing characters and like helping them when he's a villain? Why would he be acting in such a way? First of all, Loki does the same thing, but I love that there's now, I guess, kind of like a story justification within the game itself for why Ultron is doing what he's doing. And that is because he's not just healing the characters or the heroes, he's corrupting them with his Ultron energy. I think that's such a freaking cool concept that they went ahead and actually, I guess, came up with a story justification for why Ultron is doing what he's doing and why he's going to be a strategist. It's because he's essentially trying to turn our beloved characters like regular Iron Fist into this corrupted version of Iron Fist. I've seen people mention that this other character here is supposed to be Magneto, but to me, it strikes me most definitely more like Thor, just because, and it even looks a little bit kind of like the Ragnarok, like the robotic version, the robot Thor. So I don't know why people are saying that this is Magneto. To me, it looks more like Thor, but let's say that even if this is corrupted Magneto, it seems like we're most likely going to get like a whole slew of characters that have been corrupted by the Ultron bots and have kind of become like, I guess, a hybrid between the original hero and Ultron. I think that's such a cool idea. I think that's something that's like, I guess, going to be unique to Marvel Rivals itself. Very, very excited to see what kind of designs they come up with. Imagine all of like the corrupted, like a Ultron version of the Hulk would be sick. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they cook up with that. And I just love that there is so much like attention and detail into the lore of the game as well. And it leads into some really cool cosmetics. So for those of you that only care about cosmetics, you have all that exciting stuff to look forward to as well. Oh, and I can't forget, we also got a slew of the voice lines for Ultron already leaked as well, courtesy of XOX Leak, where one of the voice lines, which reads as follows, is your genome human polluted with Kree, or the other way around, which of course is a direct hint at Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. We've already gotten other voice lines in the past that were talking with Carol or Captain Marvel specifically, so it seems like she is probably a character that is sooner or going to be arriving sooner rather than later in Marvel Rivals as well. So there you have it. That is the news update for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. I cannot wait for April 11th for the new season to launch. Very, very, very excited. I will 100% be here streaming it and playing. But before we get to season 2, I will also be streaming on the 10th to celebrate, I guess, the conclusion of the existing season. So I will hopefully see you guys here for that. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. I'll see y'all later, alligators.